Yes, mu mawulire ge tulinawo wetwogereranga ensonga za Nnaalongo Anita Amongo abadde sipiika wa Parliament y'eggwanga erya Uganda tezinnaba kubanga ziggwa ebintu bikyagenda maaso n'okubanga byeyongera bikyagenda maaso n'okubeera nga bimwonoonekera ng'oggyeko ekyokubeera nti bakyamwaza bakyamukuba check mu mayumba ge oba mu maka ge ag'enjawulo era nga bakyagenda maaso n'okukola okunoonyereza oba okukola kye bayita forensic ku ebyo ebyatwalibwa ebyaggyibwa mu maka ge ag'e Nakasero ag'Ekigo ag'Entinda wamu n'amaka agasangibwa e Bukedde. Yakigambibwa nti ebimu ku byaggyibwayo bigenda mu maaso n'okubanga biri mu kwekebejjezebwa bali mu kubyekebejja bali mu kukola kye bayita forensic wabula wakati awo waliwo ebyama ebitandise okugenda maaso n'okubanga bivaayo. Abamu ku bantu babadde akola nabo batandise okubanga ebigambo bitandise okubanga bibeefuulira. Wuliriza, Anita Amongo amaze ebbanga oba omukyalo oyo Nammeere amaze ebbanga ng'akolagana nnyo era ng'alaga mukwano nnyo ogwa Nnaalongo Anita Amongo. Wabula we tutuukidde wano Anita Amongo talina yadde akafo ke yaweereddwa mu kabinenti empya kyokka ono Nammeere bwe baakwata ku lwa Anita Amongo simanyi bangi bagamba nti yali agenze ku negotiatinga kifo kye n'ebintu ebirala oba okuwaayo n'ebyo bye yali azudde ku Anita Amongo nga we bibadde bitambuzibwa ebyo byambu. Wetwogereranga Nnaalongo Anita Amongo kati yasigadde nga ordinary member of parliament kyokka ate nga kigambibwa waliwo ne possibility ey'okubeera nga mu parliament ayinza n'obutatuulayo. Ebyo ngo bitadde ebbali Nammeere kakati minisita era nga minisita omubeezi ow'ensonga za local government. Wakati awo wonna waliwo ebyama oba ebigambo ebigenze mu maaso n'okuba nga bifubutukayo era nga Anita Amongo kigambibwa okuba mbu okusinzira ku muntu gw'ogenda okuwulira mu katambi kano nti yandibanga n'okuwambibwako yawambibwako yandibanga yatwalibwako banaakolebwako ebikolobero oba yakubibwa oba yakola ki byonna. Mujjukira parliament ewedde Leader of Opposition Joel Ssennyonyi yaleetanga ensonga ku floor ya Parliament n'ategeeza sipiika munnange abaana b'ekibiina kya NUP bawambibwa era mu kuwambibwa okwo bambi batuusibwako obuvune abamu batulugunyizibwa. Anita Amongo ye omu ku bantu abalinga tebaagala kumanya abalinga tebaagala kuwulira Joel Ssennyonyi ebintu bye yalinga ayogera. Kakati kirowoozebwa nti Anita Amongo by'ebintu byebimu byandibanga bimutuusiddwako ng'oggyeko okubeera nti babadde bamukuba check mu maka ge ag'enjawulo gonna nga gabadde gasangibwa ebyo byonna ng'obitadde ebbali. Anita Amongo kigambibwa okuba nti bye yakolanga banne oba bye yawuliranga nga bakola banne n'alaga nti tayagala na kuwulira kigambibwa okuba nti yandibanga naye yembeera yemu gy'afeesinga ebigambo by'ogenda okuwulira bya muntu mukulu ate nga muntu yali ndoza kamuka gwe mbadde nkuwadde kira nga mu katambi akasembyeyo mukyala we yali sipiika wa Parliament Jacob Oulanyah. Jjukira ayogedde ne ku kufa kwa Jacob Oulanyah takomye ku Anita Amongo ayogedde ne ku bantu nga Aronda Nyakayirima era takomye ku Aronda Nyakayirima ayogedde ku bantu nga Paulo Lokech mumujjukiro gwe bayitanga Lion of Mogadishu. Obadde okimanyi nti enfa ya Segirinya Anita Amongo yatuuka ekiseera nga tayagala kumanya bino ebintu byonna. Namwandu wa Jacob Oulanyah alina ebigambo byagenze maaso n'okuba nga ayogera ne ngamba nino bikuleetera ogende maaso n'okuba nga obiwulira. Paulo Lokech eyakuba emmundu era yaduumira ebikwekwete by'amaanyi mu ggwanga lya Somalia waliwo ebyaliwo bye weetaaga ogenda maaso n'okuba nga omanya.
Lokech was the Lion of Mogadishu, praised. He did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. He was no terror to anyone, not fearful at all. Muhoozi didn't care. The Musevenis don't care. When Muhoozi tells you that Lokech, my brother Lokech, that is BS. Okay? Because the story of Lokech, which I get firsthand from Lokech's person who was there, present when these things happened to him.
Ulira onaagamba nti sitole ya Paul Lokech agirina bulungi nnyo era yafunanga amawulire first hand information gyalina nti jjukira ono yali mukyala wa sipiika yali mukyala we yali sipiika wa Parliament. Oyinza obutabuusabuusa nnyo bigambo bye. Agamba nti Paul Lokech yalina mikwano gye era nga mikwano gye ndowooza katugambe gyali mikwano gy'Oulanyah kuba bonna baali bakungu ba gavumenti. Kati ono agamba yasobola okufuna ku information okuva mu baamu ku bantu abali close ku Paul Lokech nti era emu ku information gye baamuwa yeyo gyayagala okujja abeere ng'asheyalinga naffe. Baamugamba ki? Paul Lokech mbu yalina omukazi gwe yakwana mbu omukazi we gwe yakwana nga baamumutega butezi. Omukazi oyo Paul Lokech nga omanyi wona abeeramu n'omuntu nga munyumya mbu n'amugamba olukimanyi omuntu gw'oyogera naye essaawa yonna ayinza okufuuka pulezidenti wa Uganda. Jokingire mbu ekyo kyandibanga kyekyavaako obuzibu. Wuliriza.
I can tell you word for word that Lokech became a terror from a word that he said. He just made a joke or he made a light comment to impress a woman. That Faith. The Faith woman, the Rwandese woman who is called Faith.
Nti waliwo omukyala baali bamuyita Faith yali mukyala Munyarwanda nga yali muganzi oba yali afuuse muganzi oba yali amuganza Paul Lokech yali amuganza kati mbo wakati awo n'amutegeeza nti maama oyo kimanyi omuntu gw'oyogera naye essaawa yonna asobola okufuuka president wa Uganda kati mbwe eyo information oba oli awo ye yatwalibwa neeretera Paul Lokech ebizibu si bigambo byaffe wuliriza.
Had an affair with Lokech, and Lokech made a sarcastic statement and said, this man you're looking at here is the next president of Uganda. That alone costed Lokech his entire life. What happened to Lokech?
Ogenda kitegeera what happened to Lokech ogenda kifuna mu video enzijovu jengendo ogenda maaso n'okubanga nkuwa naye nga bino byonna biri mu kugenda oba eringa message egende wa Anita Amongo nti bino byonna ebyatuusibwa ku bano Paul Lokech ebyatuusibwa ku bantu nga Aronda Nyakairima n'abalala byonna ogenda genda maaso n'okubanga obitegeera Anita Amongo agenze maaso n'okubanga alabulwa ne wankubadde nga Anita Amongo abadde ayogeza maanyi mangi nnyo atuuka mu yatuukesera mu parliament nga yasalawo Muhammad Segirinya yatuuka n'okufa nga Anita Amongo y'omu ku bantu abaagambibwanga ensonga nga ebintu tebinnaba kubanga bisajjuka nga Joel Ssenyonyi ateeka ensonga eyo ku fulo ya parliament buli kaseera Anita Amongo nga ye akulaga tayagala kumanya amaanyi alina mangi nnyo paka gye batuuse omu ku baceeke ebyobugagga bye ne bitwalibwa obadde okimanyi nti Anita Amongo bino byonna nti si y'ensonga si buli bwanguzi nakubba ssente kyekyokka ng'oggyeko okuba nti tubadde tubiteebereza ng'oggyeko okuba nti tubadde tubyogera okusinza ku bigambo by'omukyalo n'agamba nti Anita Amongo mu kikkirizo oba mu kitegeero oba mu kigaane Anita Amongo okwagala okwegeza mu ntebe eya mukama we kye kiyinza okuba nga kye kyamuzaalidde kalumanywere ebigambo ebyo ngenda kubeera nga mbikuwa kkiriza nga bulijjo nze nsooka ne nzigyawo akalango kano ne mba nga nkusumululira awatali nsonga yonna egenda maaso nakubanga tutawaanya kankuwa akalango kano then oluvannyuma lw'akalango ngenda kuwa emboozi ku Anita Amongo ogenda kutya kiki ekyamutuusibwako Anita Amongo kimanyi okusinzira ku mukyalo ono mbu bandibanga bamuteekako ne mu firiigi ogenda kuwulira
ensonga z'obufumbo olina omwami naye ng'akutawaanya olina omukyala ng'akutawaanya bajja ne bakwagalako ne bagenda gwe alina ebizibu mu byenfuna nga ssente zikuyita mu ngalo w'oteeka ssente zifa bufi b'owola tebazza gwe aloota ng'ogwa mu nnyanja gwe alumizibwa omutwe nga guganja okuwona naawe aloota ng'ebintu bikozesa ensonga z'obufumbo nina ekifo ku mugga awali amayinja wennyambululirako ebisiraani ekikwa ekifiiriza omudibo obutaganja obutaweebwa nzijanjaba abantu ab'enzikiriza zonna nsiŋŋaanibwa njeru ku lw'ejjinja gwanjagala kuba ku nnamba yange eyo wali ewala ennyo yita ku WhatsApp.
Yes, webale kubanga okyagoberera yonna gy'osinzira okubanga gy'otulabira ddala gw'atambula naffe atanaba kubanga osubscribinga ku channel eno kirira wansi awo olaba ekigambo subscribe kikwateko kwata kade ka notification abeera omu ku abo basooka okumanya buli otuba tutaddeyo tubeere nga tutambula kakati tuli ku nsonga za Nnaalongo Anita Amongo n'abamu ku bakungu ba gavumenti abalala abazze bayitira mu mbeera bweti wabula nga bino bali mu kubiriikinga kwezo incidents ezizze nga zibaawo Anita Amongo ng'oggyeko ekyokubeera nti ayagaye oba abadda yejalabya abuse of office akozesa bwisente z'omuwi w'omusolo akudaala na buli kimu ne bannayuganda yatuuka n'okulaga nti nabo tayagala kumanya era nga byonna ogenda biwulira mu vidiyo eno abyogera yali mukyala we yali sipiika Anita Amongo office mwali omukyalo no bbaawe yali agituddemu yensonga lwaki ebigambo bimbikuleetera ng'oggyeko okuba nti tumanyi Anita Amongo abadde muli wanguzi abadde extravagant nnyo abadde akudaala ssente z'omuwi w'omusolo nga taziwa kitiibwa wabula ne bino olina okubimanya.
They asked her why she's trying to take over the government and the president's seat. I told you this thing about Anita Amongo is not about the money she has.
Ono agamba nti wakati awo Anita Amongo baamubuuza akana n'akataano nti era mu bimu ku bye baamubuuzizza weno period nga bali mu kuba search wabaddeko okumubuuza lwaki obadde weegeza mu kutwala entebe eya mukamaawo General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Ono n'akugamba nti bino tubadde tubimanyi era twabikugamba gye buvuddeko nti bino byonna bye mulaba issue teri ku ssente Anita Amongo z'asaasaanya teri ku nguzi Anita Amongo gy'abadde alya wabula ensonga ebadde y'amaanyi powers z'abadde atandise okufuna n'atuuka n'okwagala okwegeza mu ntebe ya mukama we babadde bamulaba era nga kigambibwa nti baatandika okumubega nga yaakafuna ekifo ekyo ng'era mb'omu ku baddepyute be oba depute we yandibanga abadde omu bantu abadde bakola omulimu ogwo uliriza.
It's about the power that they think she has to become president of Uganda. That is Museveni's main problem. That is the only problem as to why Anita Amongo has been treated this way. I'm going to give you another example of somebody else eventually, but let me finish this. They asked Anita how come she talks negatively about the regime that she serves. Apparently, Anita Among's cars are bugged. Her house is bugged. The speaker's office is bugged. Museveni watches her like a toy, especially when he felt threatened. He began to watch Anita Among, and the deputy speaker, Tayebwa, was on top of his game.
Ako kawulidde. Amakage nga gatwaliddwa gaziddwa ofisi ye emmotoka ze na buli kimu nti Museveni amulaba buli step gy'akola naye nti deputy we Thomas Tayebwa yabadde waggulu w'omulimu guno, yabadde on top of this game, yabadde waggulu w'omuzannyo guno, oba yabadde king master ow'omuzannyo guno, kwegamba abadde aguli wakati era ng'akimanyi bulungi nnyo nti bino birina okuba era alina okugenda maaso n'okubaako omulimu gwakola gubadde mulimu ki. Jjukira waliwo n'ebigambo ebyatambuzibwa nti Justin Nammeera oyo nti newankubadde yakwatibwa nti kandibanga kaali kabadde era naye ebibuuzo bikyali bingi ebitambuzibwa mu bannayuganda. Kakati wuliriza.
With getting information where it needed to go immediately. That is why Tayebwa is back and Anita Among is in the fridge, or has just left the fridge if she did. The reason you have not seen Anita Among in the public eye is because she's nursing what injuries she got while in the fridge of Muhoozi.
Okategedde agambye nti Anita Among ensonga lwaki mbadde temu oba tuyinza okulwawo okumulaba mu public. Agamba kyeyalabika yandibanga ali mu kunansinga oba kujjanjaba biwundu ebyagenda maaso n'okumutuusibwako. Anita Among alabika yakubwamukko era alabika wakati awo alina ebikolobero bimukoleddwako kko byabadde nga alaba nga bakola banne nga ne bamugamba mbu alabika naye atuusiddwako ne mu kigambo firiji ky'owuliddeko, se mu firiji ey'ebyokunywa naye era nga bw'obimanyi. Kakati wuliriza, ono agasseeko ng'agamba nti abantu abasinga buli abadde akolera omusajja oyo Anita Among gw'okolera bangi naddala ba sipiika bavuddeyo nga either bawenyeggera, balina obuvune, sinakindi okubanga bafu. Omukazi ono nkugambye namwandu wa Jacob Olanya, naye ekyewuunyisa kibadde kizibu nnyo okukkiriza era ebbanga lyonna abantu abasinga mbadde temutera kiwulira ng'ayisa ne bbaawe mu kamwa era ayogedde ku bbaawe n'ategeeza nti ne Jacob Olanya nga kw'omutadde abasinga obungi baatuuse okuva mu ofiisi ezo nga bazivuddemu either they are limping or dead. N'aleeta example nti ng'oggyeko Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, tunulira Rebecca Kadaga bw'afaanana, najjukiza Anita Among, tunulira Jacob Olanya wajali kyokka ngono yali omwami we, n'ategeeza kakati naawe kyekiddako era n'akola n'okulabula eri Jacob both nti ebiddako naawe byandibanga bijja kufaanana bwe bityo.
Every speaker of parliament has left limping, dead, or like Sekandi, who we don't know if he's here or not. Sekandi has lived through the speakership and afterward because he never used his mind, he never exhausted his expertise, he never argued with anybody, he never argued for anybody. Sekandi just existed. And that's what Museveni likes. It's like Nabanja being prime minister or elected newly prime minister.
Agamba nti abantu bano era ategeeza Anita Among nti emirimu butya bwe yali alina ogikola nti bano oba ye General Kaguta Museveni kyaba asinga okwagala gwe you just need to exist, toyina kukozesa mutwe gwo. Naawe example Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, naawe example ey'abantu abalala nga Nabbanja tikakati abo bali existinga olw'ensonga nti munnange tebalinawo nnyo mbeera gye bagenda maaso nakubanga bateekawo era bo balivinga obulamu nga bwe babwagala olw'ensonga entebe ya mukama waabwe tebagiringizaako nga Anita Among kyabadde ayagala okukola.
It is not because she adds any value. It's because she fills the position. That is all Museveni wants. Okay? Being a Speaker of Parliament did not mean that Anita Among had the powers of a Speaker of Parliament. Okay? Anita Among filled the position of Speakership of Parliament, but truly Tayebwa, who is her assistant, was the main actor as a Speaker.
Ulira, agambye nti Anita Among ky'ataamanya abalala bo kye bamanyi bannabbanja n'abalala oyina kufiiringa kifo nti gwe n'obeera bubeezi mu kifo nti gwe sipiika naye ng'omuntu sipiika omutuufu era akola okusalawo ate ye deputy waabwe oyo si mulala Thomas Tayebwa era agamba nti kati noono azze Jacob both nti mulowooza lwaki Thomas Tayebwa yasigadde ajjira mu kifaananyi ky'okubeera deputy speaker naye ate yabeera boss woli era yasalawo biki ebigenda mu maaso n'okuba nga bikolebwa oyo gwe gwolabanga deputy speaker yabeera n'okusalawo. Kakati Anita Among teyakimanya deputy speaker ensonga lwaki yakomyewo ye talina yadde akafo ke yafunye. Wuliriza.
And Tayewa took note of everything Anita Among did and never cautioned her about certain decisions she was making.
Agamba Thomas Tayebwa yalinga alaba era nga amanyi era nga reportinga buli kintu kyonna Anita Among kye yakolanga. Era n'ategeeza nti Tayebwa talina we yalabulira Anita Among nti munnange ekyo kyokola kiyinza otusuula mu buzibu. Talina we yamulabulira, talina we yamugambira kigambo kyonna. Olw'ensonga maybe nti yali akimanyi bulungi nnyo nti ono kati amaze okugwa mu katego kaffe Thomas Tayebwa nti ebyo byonna yabimanyanga era yabimanyako naye yali yamuleka lwa nsonga gwe gwali omulimu omukulu oba oliawo gw'abadde agenda maaso n'okuba nga akola. Wuliriza.
Looked on while he reported consistently to his bosses, the Museveni people, and when it was time to kick the ladder, he was part of it to make sure that happened successfully.
Okitegedde nti Thomas Tayebwa yaliwo nga buli kimu akitunuulira nga kigenda mu maaso era ng'alaba nti bakama be bagenda maaso n'okufuna information nga bwe bateekeddwa okuba nga bagifuna. Kati agamba era awenzisa agamba nti bwe kaatuuka akaseera k'okusamba eddaala Anita Among teyamanya nti eddaala liri erisambiddwa ye Thomas Tayebwa. Kyangu nnyo ogenda maaso n'okuba nga akomezebwawo era nga bwe twakirabye. Anita Among byonna byayiseemu ye sitole ye yanjawulo naye ono omukyala amugambye nti teweerabira ffe babba baffe battibwa buttibwa nga kuliko Jacob Olanya bbaawe. Abantu abalala abakungu abakoledde gavumenti eyo bo babadde battibwa buttibwa okusinziira ku mukyalo ono. N'aleetamu n'ekizampu ya Ssegirinya nga bw'ogenda obbiwulira mu katambi ke ngenda okuwa mu bujjuvu obeere ng'okategeera bulungi nnyo. N'agereza ne ku Paul Lokech eyali yatuumibwa Lion of Mogadishu eyagenda maaso n'okuba nga ajojobya n'okuteekawo embeera etali nnyangu nnyo era mu ggwanga erya Uganda ensi yonna n'etegeera Paul Lokech nti musajja w'amaanyi nnyo y'omu ku bajaasi mu ggye ly'eggwanga erya UPDF abaali tebawunyikamu wabula naye bwe twogerera kati nga mugenzi. Kakati nga sinakutwala wala njagala osooka owuliriza ebigambo by'omukyalo ono mu bujjuvu ate mu ngeri enzikakkamu nga bw'ogenda mu comment section bw'owandiikayo gwe kiki ky'olowooza ku bino then nga nange bwe nzija ngende maaso n'okutuusaako ate ebirala. Wuliriza.
The story about Anita Among is a perfect description of what they call, you can call it greed, you can call it excitement, you can call it, like animals being led to the butcher, okay? That position of speakership, obviously, there has never been an honorable discharge of somebody who has left that position and continued to live on and enjoyed their life and had their grandchildren, raised their grandchildren, blah, blah, blah. Every Speaker of Parliament has left limping, dead, or like Sekandi, who we don't know if he's here or not. Sekandi has lived through the speakership and afterward because he never used his mind, he never exhausted his expertise, he never argued with anybody, he never argued for anybody. Sekandi just existed. And that's what Museveni likes. It's like Nabanja being prime minister or elected newly prime minister. It is not because she adds any value. It's because she fills the position. That is all Museveni wants, okay? Being a Speaker of Parliament did not mean that Anita Among had the powers of a Speaker of Parliament, okay? Anita Among filled the position of Speakership of Parliament, but truly Tayebwa, who is her assistant, was the main actor as a speaker. And Tayebwa took note of everything Anita Among did and never cautioned her about certain decisions she was making. Looked on while he reported consistently to his bosses, the Museveni people. And when it was time to kick the ladder, he was part of it to make sure that happened successfully. Okay? So Anita Among should have known, I'm sure she knew, because of the mysteries from the passing of Jacob Olanya, the late, the previous Speaker of Parliament. His expression of what happened to him before he died. If anything, Anita knew firsthand that there was suspicion surrounding his passing. That was good enough for her to even tread softer, with less pride, with less power, with less command, and with keeping useful or good Ugandans by her side. But what Anita did was completely opposite. When Anita joined the NRM, she thought she had made it in life. Anita Among detached from people who could have been supporting her. As a human being, I feel bad for Anita Among. But as a person of change, a change wanter, a change lover, a humanitarian person, somebody who cares about another human being and their well-being, I do not necessarily feel compelled to feel bad as I would for anybody else because of the things Anita Among did as a human being. So with that precedence, everything that is happening to Anita Among as a human being is wrong. But because of her actions, she earned it. Because she thought she was one of them. That she ended up trumping over her own people who would eventually be somewhat in support of her or try to save her life. Anita abused even her own people from Teso. Anita Among made it that an opponent cannot even think twice about suggesting, about dreaming, about running against her. You know, if she was so confident about winning, why wouldn't she just let the other lady run? So Anita Among was in line like animals are headed to the butcher, and she saw what happened to the animals ahead of her, but she thought it was different. She thought she was different. She thought Museveni calling her my child, my daughter, my whatever, meant anything. She never learned from all the previous people. Okay? The problem with Anita was that even those who aspired as a dream of their own that God put in their heart, that Anita made sure that dream was dimmed. The lady from National Unity Platform who aspired to run for office against Anita in Bukedia, Anita took that woman in a drone in the night. They drove around with her like they do National Unity Platform supporters. I don't know if she's tortured or what. When she came out, she couldn't speak about what truly happened. All she did was hand over and say she was not going to run anymore. The FDC people in Bukedia who tried to go and register and themselves as they couldn't even get through the gate. Jo FDC people I think even on election day in Bukedia, Anita Among made sure that the gates were closed to say that they are no longer having anybody going in to vote anymore. Anita made sure that she was unopposed by force. If you're so good, let people challenge you so that we know that you're really great and you made it all by yourself. So I'm saying that Anita Among lived through the previous parliament with a member. This is one example of many. A member of parliament, Segirinya, Honorable Segirinya, who was abducted while being a member of parliament, tortured by the Muhoozis, his private parts burned with fire, acid, whatever they could find, clipped nails with the pliers, all manner of torture, waterboarded, everything. Segirinya, all of that was done to him. To the extent that Segirinya's kidneys and liver became solid that could not pass liquid through. Segirinya was swollen from all manner of poison that was injected in him. And they waited for Segirinya to die. He couldn't. He did not die on their time. Segirinya eventually succumbed to his death. But I'm talking about a member of parliament in Anita Among's parliament. All this went on while Anita was in the big chair. That's one example, just one. Eddie Mutwe's scenario, he was picked up, abducted, tortured. Muhoozi came out and said, I have him in my basement. I'm still teaching him Lunyankole. Tortured severely. You can see the pictures. The videos will scare the heck out of you. All that happened under Anita's nose. While Anita stands with a stick like a mulalo. While Anita parades thousands of heads of cows because she feels like she has arrived and she's one of them. I'm sorry. I am here not because I am benefiting in any way to say anything about this. I am saying this because those of you who are headed Anita's way, or both and so on and so forth, you know that you are headed for the butcher. but you are just tugging along and fending off or flagging off anybody who has a different opinion than the one you have from Debalaru. Be mindful, because when the time comes to what Anita Among is going through, it is hard to defend her. I'm not lying to you. I'm a human being. I feel her pain. But I can tell you that because of Segirinya, because of Eddie Mutwe, because of Frank Senteza, because of Olivia Lutaya, because of Achileo Chivumbi, because of Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, because of Kavuma, the beginning of all this, because of all the National Unity Platform supporters, those who are in the line of fire, who just were not even supporting Noop, but a child on the streets who is being sent by his mother across to go and do some business is caught in the crossfire because they're trying to raid Noop, and they're trying to raid all of these things that Museveni tries to do to belittle or to destroy Noop. Anita watched. Anita watched. I am not sorry because of that. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm a human being, but I am also a human being for the ones who are tortured and gone. While Anita watched, and yet she had the powers to not give her any pity. Of all the suffering there was, she added to their pain in sarcasms, in all manner of responses. When Joel Senyonyi spoke, she had one-liners that were just stinky because she has the power. And guess what has happened to Anita? She has faced and is facing the ultimate punishment from the same people whom she let punish and continuously torture and harass National Unity Platform supporters. Anita Among, from the time that she was, they started to raid her home. When they picked up Anita Among, she ended up in the fridge. The same fridge which the two gentlemen from Kenya who came to support Bobby Wine were put in. Apparently, there is a temperature-controlled home. I don't know if it's a basement of Muhoozi or somewhere, Muhoozi's homes or whatever, where they keep the temperature very low, dangerously low, that you could actually get hurt from being too cold and pass out. But the body has a way of warming up or creating heat, so some people survive. That's why some people can live for a certain time in the wild without dying from natural causes. So I understand in that, the fridge, the temperatures are severely low, dangerously low, that somebody of abnormal, if you have issues with heat and cold, you might suffer or you might not even survive it. So Anita Among was taken there from her house after they came and raided and abducted her. They did all manner of things to her. All manner of things you can imagine. All manner. I'm talking all the people who had somehow assumed or wanted to or would have liked to have a bit of her. All these Rwandese men, one day, everybody came and as they please. You want to use the front door, you want to use the back door for children around. Whatever they wanted to do to Anita Among, they have done. All men who are ready, if you're sick, not sick, whatever the case might be, all these Rwandese men used Anita Among in the fridge. Because you know that is what they do to a lot of the female prisoners, even the male ones, because somehow Museveni believes in dominancy or sexual dominance over people or prisoners, people they hold, which is something that they exercised on Anita. If Anita comes out of that place alive, maybe she will speak. It is possible that they may discard her because they don't want her to speak. Not just speak about the things that they did to her, but to speak about the other things that they did together. For the goodness of Museveni telling her, do this and that for my sake. You also know that Anita Among is the only sanctioned member of parliament at that time, a speaker of parliament at the time. And yet, Tayewa and Amongen have worked together, especially the fact that Tayewa being a Rwandese, he was the head. Anita Among just filled that position. All decisions and tricks and all of that were employed or brought to the table or executed by Tayewa. which is common. It is a common thing now. Even in the military, they will bring you a junior SFC of 17 or 18 years old. Even in the military and police, they bring a little guy. Today, you know, he's hired and whatever. He's quickly risen through the ranks. Next thing you know, that little junior person who came yesterday is the one who makes decisions for you to finally execute. As a Ugandan, you will not have power to do anything until this little guy who came yesterday says this is the way it should go, or seconds your idea. That is what happened with Anita Among's position. So it is possible that she may have come out of the fridge, but it will be a while before we see Anita Among, if we do, because of what they have done to her. You remember when Eddie Mutwe was in detention with Muhoozi at Muhoozi's home, they could not bring him out early until he had healed from some of the signs of atrocity, signs of torture on him. So everything they could do to Anita Among, they did. The time Anita Among came out and wrote something on her Twitter or X account saying that that she's withdrawing from the post of speakership. Anita Among was still in the fridge. They had tortured her so much. They asked her forcefully, amidst a lot of terror, to write that thing and share it. While she was in the fridge, she apologized amidst a lot of terror and tools facing her. You know, the guns were pointed at her. They were scaring her. They were raping her. They were doing all kinds of things to her. When she did get her phone to make that statement, she did it under a lot of fear and intimidation. Anita Among also denied being married to Magogo as her official husband. She said the intention of having Magogo was just to have the eastern part of the region join and be happy with NRM because Magogo is from some part of the east. She wanted to bundle it all up. They asked her why she's trying to take over the government and the president's seat. I told you this thing about Anita Among is not about the money she has. It's about the power that they think she has to become president of Uganda. That is Museveni's main problem. That is the only problem as to why Anita Among has been treated this way. I'm going to give you another example of somebody else eventually, but let me finish this. They asked Anita how come she talks negatively about the regime that she serves. Apparently, Anita Among's cars are bugged. Her house is bugged. The speaker's office is bugged. Museveni watches her like a toy, especially when he felt threatened. He began to watch Anita Among, and the deputy speaker, Tayebwa, was on top of his game with getting information where it needed to go immediately. That is why Tayebwa is back and Anita Among is in the fridge, or has just left the fridge if she did. The reason you have not seen Anita Among in the public eye is because she's nursing what injuries she got while in the fridge of Muhoozi. And she may not come back the same. You know, with a bleached skin, so many things are thinner, easy to abrase or bruise, easy to burn or tear. We just don't know what state she's in. We don't know. She denies Magogo being her official husband. Also, she denies, they asked her why she has a lot of money and audios in her office. So Anita Among apparently has several other recorded audios that she has given people to release when she does die, or if they do something to her and all of that. So that is also something that they are fearful of. Okay? There is fear that Anita Among may be assassinated because they fear bringing her to court the way she looks. They could assassinate her, or they may let her stay, but stay without being a part of anything or being seen or allowed to speak at all. Okay? They will continuously threaten her. I want to bring to your attention the previous leaders of Uganda who were prominent. Okay, Ugandans who were prominent in leadership positions, who would have become something, but Museveni dimmed their light. And as I mentioned, the speakership position, nobody has come off of that position and stayed the same or lived to their dreams or whatever the case might be with what they've earned as being a speaker, except Sekandi. Honorable Kadaga is not the same. As we see it, she's just wasting away every day. Okay? People like Wopakabulo, Francis Ayume, okay? People like Jacob Olanya, Noble Mayombo. Those people Museveni got rid of when he felt, and it doesn't have to be financial that he seems threatened. Just by you seeming like people are starting to like you or your ideas are transformational, Museveni figures out how to get rid of you. That is why Anita Among is in her position right now. What Anita Among could have done, and hopefully the next leaders are going to try to do, is to ally with other Ugandans, because in times like this, we just might be able to help. At this point, Anita Among, I'm sure, is crying Bobby Wine or His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. But Anita Among burned that bridge to ashes. To ashes. She could not allow the thought of Bobby Wine existing in Uganda peacefully. No, she couldn't entertain it. Babawa, Uminwa, Latinwa, Fred Lokech. I would like to speak to you about Lokech. Lokech was the Lion of Mogadishu. Praised. He did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. He was no terror to anyone, not fearful at all. Muhoozi didn't care. The Musevenis don't care. When Muhoozi tells you that Lokech, my brother, Lokech, that is BS. Okay? Because the story of Lokech, which I get firsthand from Lokech's person who was there, present when these things happened to him, I can tell you word for word that Lokech became a terror from a word that he said. He just made a joke or he made a light comment to impress a woman. That Faith, the Faith woman, the Rwandese woman who is called Faith, had an affair with Lokech. And Lokech made a sarcastic statement and said, this man you're looking at here is the next president of Uganda. That alone costed Lokech his entire life. What happened to Lokech? Okay, many of you know Faith. I forget her last name. Faith, the Rwandese woman who is in the military of Uganda. What's her name? If you have it, please add it here. I'm not seeing my messages. I don't know why. So anyways, while Lokech, the famously known Lion of Mogadishu, was in Somalia, okay, somehow they had relations with Faith. Whatever happened, in the morning he wakes up and says, guess what? In a joking manner, being sarcastic, just being whatever, you know, he says, this guy you see here is the next president of Uganda. In a joking manner, very lightly, very light. He did not know that he's speaking to one of the agents of the Museveni people, one of the custodians of the Museveni's government. That same Faith woman called Museveni immediately and said, Museveni, do you know what Lokech just said? He said that he's the next president of Uganda. And that usually sets those people off because they don't want anybody else to be the president of Uganda. Immediately, Museveni called for Lokech to get rid. You know how he'll invite his people and say, well, come on, let's talk. Let's see what's going on where you are. People on different missions, come back. Let's, you know. So Lokech returns to Uganda to go and see him. The president has called. It's an order. You must attend. As soon as he gets there, he's hit or punched or whatever. Obviously, they reiterate what he said. You said you want to become the president of Uganda? Are you serious? Did you say that? He says, I'm really sorry. He apologized. Then they bounce him here and there. He's taken to Sudan. He no longer goes back to Somalia. He's in, you know, they're hoping that if he goes to Sudan, something will happen to him. Then he's sent to South Africa. He's sent here and there. You know, they're moving him into the front lines anywhere they could for anything else to happen to him. But nothing happens. He's protected or he's strong as a person anyway. So Lokech is then brought back to Uganda. That's when he becomes the IGP for some reason. So he does come back to become IGP in Uganda. Sorry, I was reading a message on my phone. With that time, you know, he's pumped to say all kinds of nonsense. It's the time that he said when National Unity Platform's people come to demonstrate or whatever, they should write their will. You know, all of that was him trying to raise the energy and faith and trust of the bosses, the Musevenis, to get their mind off him saying things like he's going to be president of Uganda. But it had already registered as a threat to this establishment. So what happens to Lokech is one day while he's at home, Faith, that's Randy's woman, and some other SFCs go visit Lokech at his home. They find him in the bedroom, take him to the bathroom, and slice his midsection wide open. I mean, cut across. His organs are all hanging out and he's bleeding. They take out his guts and put them in his hands and say, you want to be president? Of whom? It is said that Lokech's carcass or dead body had tears coming out of his eyes. That is the pain or the expression of pain that this man died in. This is a Ugandan. This is a Ugandan who has the ability and freedom to dream. But those people will stifle a dream that you might know that is possible for you. Just the thought that Lokech thought that he could be president and that he said it to the wrong person got Lokech killed. So any one of you who is parading here and there in positions, make sure that your position is your ceiling and you cannot aspire to be more than that. Because if you do, you are in target. But there is no guarantee that what you are doing is enough to keep you safe. That is why when no one is safe in Uganda, if one person is not safe in Uganda, nobody is safe. Today you think Bobby Wine this, Bobby Wine the other. Bobby Wine has done the best and absolute everything he could do to open our eyes. It is up to us to try to fight for ourselves, because if not, one by one, we are being led to the butcher. One by one. All these MPs today, they're celebrating. Oboth is right behind Anita Among. Oboth is a Babati thief also. We are right behind. I mean, Oboth cannot make any decisions on his own without Tayewa giving a go. Tayewa is the assistant. That is how much Ugandans have gotten used to a level that they cannot surpass. There's a ceiling there. All of you are in line. All of you elected members or not, or people in certain positions, you are all in line for the chopping block. You are all like animals being led to the butcher. If you think you are safe now, it is temporary. It won't surprise me if Oboth does not make it through the whole 5 years. Because as a human being, he's going to not please the other people, whether he knows it or not. He's going to offend someone. And because he's dispensable, they will do away with Oboth conveniently. At any point in time, they will do away with Oboth. Just like all of you other MPs who become too big for the grassroots. You feel like you can no longer be, in good terms with people who are beneath you. Those who cannot afford this. Those who are, you distance yourself. You put yourself on a pedestal. When the time comes, you will need these people and they will not be here. Right now, I don't blame National Unity Platform for not supporting Anita Among, because we have cried, we have buried our people, we have watched torture videos and we have lost our guts. We have lost appetite. We have cried through the night. We have prayed. We've done everything possible just to save our hearts from so much pain that is caused by people in positions or people who cannot do anything because they're in certain positions. There will come a time for you people who are still there, because Oboth also stole Mabati. Surely it is not difficult for this Muhoozi thing of theirs to come out and say they are also going to investigate Oboth when the time comes that they want Oboth brought to his knees. Because Tayewa is going to lure Oboth into some scenario where he may be tempted to steal, or they'll set him up in something and catch him red-handed. And there will be Oboth gone for good. Like Anita is gone for good. She did not want anybody to be MP because she did not want to miss speakership. She has missed both. Both. What's the point? Anita's constituency is one of the first ones that are going to face by-elections. Anita cannot enjoy the taste of food right now. Anita would rather be a Segrinya under 6 feet in the ground because of the pain and torture that she's feeling. Honorable Segirinya is in a better place than Anita Among at this moment. That is life. Why would you live so large that you don't think other people are worth living? Why? It is a matter of time for the Musevenis to be gone. But why would you do that as a person? So many have gone to their rest. Able-bodied, great individuals, Wapakabulo, Francis Ayume, General Lokech, Nyakairima. Nyakairima, he thought it was one of them. Aronda Nyakairima was an actual Ugandan native. His demise, because they felt like he was threatening or could have been loved enough to become president, Aronda Nyakairima was poisoned in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, waiting for a transfer flight to his final destination. They sent him on a mission and sent him his assistant with poison. When he got to the Middle East on his layover, he stayed overnight, was given whatever Museveni sent them to give him. Aronda died in the airplane, and yet he walked from his hotel to the airplane and never got out of the airplane. Never. They woke him up, and he could not wake up. He had not complained of a headache, not complained of anything. Aronda was gone. Aronda had began working at Internal Affairs as a minister, you remember that? And at the passport offices, which today they have given a Rwandese that office. Aronda's job was to make sure that people who qualified for the passports of Uganda got them rightfully and on time with the right demographic history needed to get those IDs. In essence, he was trying to protect Ugandan sovereignty in their immigration office, the main immigration office for passports. The Rwandese people got upset because he was not allowing willy-nilly Rwandese people to get passports. That alone earned Aronda Nyakairima his death on the Museveni's calendar. This is sad. It's really, really sad. It makes me, I feel bad as a human being. I really do. I do. I really do. I really do. But the things that this woman has done, I don't know. Too many. Too many. Between Segirinya and Anita Among, so many people have gone just because. She could have done something. She never did. Why do we have to do something now? Why? Maybe we'll have a change of heart. I don't know. Maybe this will be the Hail Mary for change in Uganda. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe we will get there. Maybe. Maybe. But right now, I battle with the people who have suffered while Anita had the powers to do something. I battle with that feeling. I battle with all of that. I battle with Mama Lina Zedriga being imprisoned as a judge, as an attorney. Anita Among is the same, and she doesn't say or do. And I battle with all of that. It's hard. It's hard for me to say. It's hard. So, I want to talk about the appointment of that gentleman Okay, I don't think I'll do very much today, but I want to talk about the appointment of the gentleman to the Internal Affairs Office. The one who has stirred a lot of debate. Let me get his names.
Ugandan one. If you're looking for a hot, to congratulate Honorable.
The gentleman who was appointed to be the Internal Affairs Minister. So an office like that is like the kitchen of a home. An office of Internal Affairs is the heart of a country. An office of Internal Affairs is the housekeeper of a country, is the guard of honor of a country, is the sovereignty office of a country. The reason, the purpose of internal affairs is to manage, housekeep internal issues or matters. That is why it's the heart of a country. Internal affairs meaning managing whose entry and exit into the country, just so that it is clean, clear, and is how it's supposed to be. You remember a few months ago, Muhoozi came up and said that his Rwandese people are struggling to get passports at the passport office. And this makes sense that they have picked a Rwandese person to put into the Internal Affairs passport office to control production, reproduction of passports or travel documents in Uganda. This means, imagine all the sanctioned people of Rwanda because of the agreement that failed with Tshisekedi that they signed over in the US with President Donald J. Trump. All those agreements, all of those sanctioned people will now get passports to their fullest, to their wish. They are going to be able to assign themselves different Ugandan names. In fact, they may strip actual Ugandans of their passports, of their names, and give them to Rwandese people of that nature. Those sanctioned people will now have access to getting whatever documents they need to go anywhere in the world, unless there's fingerprint restrictions that were captured. But what I know is that if somebody has never traveled, they don't have fingerprints stored anywhere in the world. So this passport office now is going to expressly print passports for all Rwandese individuals born, not born, prospective, late, or whatever to their convenience. And every sort of scholarship opportunity for Ugandans to go abroad is now going to be all for Rwandese officially, because they don't have to worry about travel documents. Ugandans are going to wait for passports for as long as the Rwandese wish. In fact, some Ugandans may never get passports, because once you go and register and have your NIN number or whatever, they can easily give it to a Rwandese guy or woman for their convenience. For example, the sanctioned guys, they are going to get a legitimate Ugandan, match them with this individual, and those guys are ready to go. So as much as Donald Trump has stopped them from coming, or there's sanctions on those people, Museveni's government has affixed a Rwandese individual to the passport office of Uganda to print and mass print passports and hand them to those people. We're going to find them all over the world. And that's a big problem. That is why Ugandans are complaining about this guy particularly being appointed to that office. It is dangerous. It's unacceptable. But then again, that is their group. They're all the same people. I tell you, Uganda, if we don't do something as a people, no matter what we do for small things, the bigger umbrella is still there.
Nga z'obufumbo olina omwami naye ng'akutawanya, olina omukyala ng'akutawanya, bajja ne bakwagalako ne bagenda. Gwe alina ebizibu mu byenfuna nga sente zikuyita mu ngalo, w'oteeka sente zifa bufi, b'owola tebazza. Gwe aloota ng'ogwa mu nnyanja, gwe alumizibwa omutwe nga guganja okuwona, naawe aloota ng'ebintu bikozesa ensonga z'obufumbo. Nina ekifo ku mugga awali amayinja we nnyambulirako ebisiraani, ekikwa, ekifiiriza, omudibo, obutaganja, obutaweebwa. Nzijanjaba abantu ab'enzikiriza zonna, nsiŋŋaanibwa njeru ku lw'ejjinja. Gwanjagala kuba ku nnamba yange eyo, naawe aliye wale nnyo yita ku WhatsApp.